Rostam, Changephobia, album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here, and let's chat about this latest from Rostam of Vampire Weekend fame. He's also had his own solo career for, quite some time now, actually. It's been a while. But also, he's done a lot of great things over the last couple of years. He had that really fantastic collaborative album with Hamilton Lighthouser, which I really loved. He's also done a lot of great production here and there. But in 2017, he released his debut album, Half-Life. And not for nothing, at the time, I was kind of let down by this. It's fine, there are tracks on there, like Wood, my personal favorite, Bike Dream, which are great. But there are an abundance of tracks on this album that just sound like tracks that Vampire Weekend didn't want to record. Now, I for one have actually thought a lot of these singles have been pretty decent. Been very curious to dive into this album. Let's chat about it. When this album is good, it's actually pretty good. I think Rostam has a very solid bass sound for his solo material. Take, for example, These Kids We Knew. There's a great intro. I love the formless, hazy vibes of this track, and while it's a little straightforward lyrically, I think it works nicely. It's super catchy, and I love some of the little details that we get here, like the twangy guitars. I mean, it is so simple, but it works so effective. Then we have From the Back of a Cab, and honestly, this is kind of where I expected to hear most of this album. And yes, I feel like this does have a lot of Vampire Weekend influence, but I don't really think that he's escaped it just quite yet. But overall, his performance here is super passionate, it's super tender, and I continue to love the dreamy, hazy vibes of this album. Not for nothing, I think Forerunner is the best track here. I'll go one step further. I think it's one of the best solo tracks Rostam's ever put out. This gave me so much hope for this album. I love the throwback production and the very dreamy, hazy strummed riff. It's the complete package. Even his vocals are right where I want to hear them. It's also got this sort of old school quality to it with the hazy production and the harmonica here. I can't really put my finger on it, but something about this track just brings me back to my teen years. And Kinney is honestly one of the most eclectic and daring tracks here. It's even wild. It's upbeat and it's chaotic. It's also kind of jazzy. This is Rostam really branching out of his comfort zone in a big way. And you know what? Some of his heavily edited vocals on this track do rub me the wrong way, but overall, I think he does pretty well with this as a risk. But for me, I don't know what it is, but I feel like something hasn't clicked yet with Rostam's solo career. Take, for example, Unfold You. This one has this sort of left field, jazzy feel to it, and I can't get with it. It's cloudy and it's weird, and these are things I usually love in Rostam's music, but this is not cutting it. It's sluggish, and as far as vocals go, it's one of the most awkward tracks here. And for a 4-minute track, this feels like it goes on forever. And Bio-18 is just not for me at all. Like, it's my least favorite track here. This just tries to be way too quaint and charming and just falls flat on its face. How is this so boring? I'm okay with a slower tune. I really am. But this is one of the most painful recordings on this entire album. And the rest of this album is just so average. Take, for example, Changephobia, the title track here. It's really, really an odd one. I actually love the production throughout this entire album. I really do. And this track is no different. I love it here. I think the instrumental's pretty okay too. It's Rostam's vocals here. They're just so middle of the road. It really doesn't sway me either way. Nothing about this track just grabs me at all. On the other hand, the interlude that we get later is just so simple, but just right what I want to hear. It's super dreamy, it's super hazy, but it also doesn't sound like anything else here. I love how smoky and jazzy it is, but it also has that electric hum with some synths underneath it all. It's really interesting. To Communicate, on the other hand, it sounds like a track that was rejected from Vampire Weekend's Modern Vampires of the City. I have nothing good or bad to say about this track. This track just is so in the middle of the road. It's just such a snooze fest. Now, I do like some of the weirder instrumental shifts on this track. I really do, but it's just too little too late. And then we get Next Thing, which is honestly a real shot out of left field. I mean, this is not hazy or dreamy or anything like that. No, this is bouncy and quaint and playful and fun, and I love it. It's just so carefree, and this chorus is easily the most passionate thing on this entire album. Like, I thought I was going to end up enjoying some of the later tracks here, and then we get Starlight as the finale of Once Again. It's just sort of okay. It's not a bad track, but I've heard this sound so much here, and honestly, this is just not swaying me either way. Finger snapping is super annoying, but Rostam's vocals are actually okay. Production is great, but a lot of this instrumental I could take or leave. It's just so average. So much of this album is average. So you know what? This is a better album than Half-Light from a few years ago. I'll tell you that. It's a lot shorter, it's a lot more concise, it's a lot more focused as well. I mean, you know what you're getting here. You're getting the great Rostam production, you're getting some solid, dreamy instrumentals, and that's fine, but so much of this still is very average, very middle of the road. Not to mention, Rostam is still trying to shake getting away from sounding like he's recording tracks that Vampire Weekend didn't want to. I'm feeling a strong 6 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.